Hello everyone and welcome back for round 2 of the 2025 Samui Swine Classic 12 presented by Latitude 64. Short and easy course, as we all know. Philo Brathwaite managed to capture 14 birdies. Pichet shot 13 under. Shasta Criss just behind them as he charged late. And new guy on the card, Petri. Petri also supporting and sponsoring the coverage. You should check him and his workout over on Spotify under Less Gravity. There's a link in the description. Super excited for round number 2 here. And hole 1, as we know, doesn't look difficult because really it's not. Triple Mando through those 2 trees and below the banner. It's only 144 feet. You have a gallery off to the left that's always watching, especially when it comes to our final lead card of MPO. So they're just off screen on the left. Wondering, is it a layup? Playing for the birdie? Or might we see the ace? Chet. The lefty forehand hits right side. Basically a standstill coming from Shasta. It's a nice little toss. Anything past that tree is going to put you well inside the circle. He's less than 10 feet. And Petri, who's only been a PDGA member since 2020, worked himself into a 973 rating over the last couple of years. And I've also seen him on the island before in years past. Fun fact, Pichet, who was just putting, actually made these baskets. So we're seeing all new baskets this year. And those were all made by Pichet, as he's got a company in Thailand and produces these baskets. Easy birdie for Philo, and as you can see, less than 10 feet, more like less than 4 feet. Easy tap in for Shasta. You guys have seen this track a number of times. I know we go through it twice in order to play a 22-hole round. I'm going to do my best to let some of the nature do the talking. Yes, I talk a lot, I know, but you guys have seen this quite a few times, so I may not give you as much insight here. I'm going to try and back off a little bit. Hope you can just sit back and enjoy the beauty and the action that's here. This is a Saturday afternoon. It's February 1st. And another beautiful day for disc golf. Hung up late and gets a roll away from the pin, but really that's the shot you're looking for. So ultimately 3 forehands and then the lefty backhand. You're always going to have a low ceiling and a few things to contend with when you're on this short right side. Philo got a roll out to the left, but did have an open look at it. Chat is 2 for 2 on a front rim. Just a bit low today. Shasta with a chance. Okay. I'm going to say pick one up on Philo, but he seems to be part of the theme. We've got 3 off the front of the cage, and Petri is going to put in for his par. Island green, 194 feet. You have to throw it about 140, maybe 150 is where the short side, you see a little white rope there that defines the front. Probably maybe like 130 actually, just to be able to get it onto the green. And it must come to rest on the green, otherwise you go to the 2 coconuts for the drop zone. And this looks to have perfect pace. It did, just a little bit right. Kent down there giving us a safe symbol, or the signal I should say. Left or right of that tree, and that's going to be hooking up and finishing right next to the pin. Instead, he goes to the drop zone. A slow start, and that's going to be even worse. He's going to go out of bounds, and now looks like a double bogey. Philo gives it a full run. As you can see, right side, and it stays in bounds, but it's going to be a frustrating par. Good birdie pickup to go 2 under through 3. Not by much, but Shasta will match. So you can see how quick strokes can actually still swing, even on a relatively easy course like this. Pichet's going to take the double bogey. Shasta takes the birdie, and you see a 3-stroke swing. So keeping that in mind, yes, there's a ton of birdies out here. Yes, the course feels easy. However, things can slip away real quick. And big shout out to our friends over at Pulse, giving you guys a great app so that you can go out and learn more about how to play disc golf, tons of instructions, continuing to build on that library time and time again with a bunch of our top pros. Now just, out there taking in some sun, and you see just how close that is to the tee of hole number 4. In my first year out here, which I believe was 2019, we actually used to use that land over there on the right side, and we had 2 or 3 holes that were over there, including a very difficult par 4. And that is one of the neighbors, some of the neighbors' property. This is mostly all on neighbors' property. And essentially this land gets leased for a number of these holes just so that we can continue to have a course out here and have it in the 11-hole setup that we have. That kicks right. There's the OB there on that right side. And if you're thinking of places to land, this is pretty much all you're asking for off the tee. You want to get to here. If you wanted to go with a forehand, you could. Backhand, obviously, here works as well. This is kind of the ideal landing zone. Hopefully you're just not pinched up against one of the few trees. And that gets hung up. So not the best approach there from Philo. Still chance for birdie. And that looks dead center. Saw a little frustration from the previous hole where he wasn't quite on. And then hole number 2, actually, he had a long look. This time he's dialed in. A little moisture issue there for Shasta. This is the hole where we've seen him talking about his dirt bag that he carries around. Humidity obviously can be a problem out here. Another solid putt. Petri, 3 under through 4. And Shasta falls back to 1 under. And there's a link in the description for the Distinguished Doodle. Appreciate all of their support. American-made product out of Arizona, taking care of your little furry friends. Should be pampering them if you can. As we head to hole number 5, 312 feet, just short of 100 meters, OB along the entire left-hand side, and then that swoops around behind the basket. And this is becoming more and more popular because if you've got it, that looks to be a good shot until it rolls, and it looks like it's going to hopefully stay in bounds. There's a lot of sand back there. So it's surprising to see one get up and actually roll away. And the double kick keeps Philo in bounds. That was without a doubt heading straight out of bounds until it hit that second tree. And we watched Shasta struggle on this in round 1. He went out of bounds. Oh, no, and he's done it again. That one just barely leaks out. Little caterpillar action on the tee. Pichet's going to make sure to move it over to safety. Very slow start so far. And that's hung up. Remember, Pichet shot just 1 off of our leader in Philo yesterday. He came in with a 13 under. And the long bit is off the mark. So that had gone out of bounds, and that is going to be a bogey. And this time, Shasta is able to convert on the putt. So yesterday, he had 2 putts to save par from that left side. He didn't convert on either of them. Today, he goes out of bounds and converts. So hole 5/16 have really had his number. Hole 5 playing over par here. We'll have another look at it when we make the trip around and play it on hole 16. But somewhat brutal as we head to hole number 6. Just over the small stream here. Make sure you stay clear of all these trees. And as I said yesterday, going long isn't a problem in that you're out of bounds or anything. But when you do go long, that's a very, very wet area, and you're going to get your disc and your shoes really muddy. flirting with the left side, but that's going to pan out, or should I just say finish, actually just fall to the ground just fine. Guess no real panning there. And some overstability makes that look pretty easy there for Petri. Even the long legs of Philo trying to get himself out of the muck. And you see where the other 3 drives are. It's a pretty simple hole. And I know there's been talks or even criticism throughout the years of, well, this is hardly golf. Well, I think this time of year, foreign country for most people, nice, relaxed, not too stressful. I don't know. I find it to be a lot of fun, and I think birdies are fun. And it feels like it's just all part of the vibe, the setting, the feels of when you're here. It feels, to me now, it would feel weird to go to a place like Thailand and go out there and be grunting through a 4-hour round par 68, 10,000 foot course or something like that. And I know plenty of people disagree, and that's fine. That's why we've got thousands upon thousands of disc golf courses around the world. Plenty of options, but this one's going to play to the short and easier side. Good setup for Pichet. And I'll go ahead and say this particular weekend looks very different from where I'll be next weekend, which is Chiang Mai, which has 18 holes and a couple of different courses in the area, and definitely provides more length. Still not the 10,000 or 12,000 foot range or anything crazy. And then a place like Cambodia, I believe, has a good mixture as well of some length. So you've got options. Every course kind of has their special, unique qualities to it. As we watch Philo with a long putt, almost an identical putt from his second trip through yesterday in round 1. About 40 feet or so. Shasta answers. Do we have a star frame in the making? Philo and Shasta doing some real work on the long range. No pressure. Back-to-back star frames. We saw it on 6 and 7. Can they keep it rolling on 8? Usually the higher line is played. You want to just get around this bend, having it just dumping from right to left. Usually you can put it pretty much on one angle or almost any angle. In fact, if you have it on more than one angle, you're doing something wrong. It's just a matter of the height that you want to put on it, and that is well off the mark. The gap is huge, and then you wonder how in the world do you hit something? And Shasta's going to fight through. Just waiting for one of those to fall in. We've seen some really solid ace runs. We've seen some people hit metal. Just waiting. And it's tough to stand in just the right spot as a camera operator to make sure that I have the basket in frame and not protected by one of the few trees down there. If you don't make it over the water, you go to the drop zone with penalty. And Philo was over, so he'll have that left for his par. So Philo's tee shot will keep this from being a turkey of star frames. So in the last 3 holes, with 12 opportunities, we've seen 11 birdies. Par on disc golf out of Jacksonville, Florida. Big thanks to Jeff and the support. Jeff being out here this year. I know we're going to see him in 2026. He said he had such a good time. As we head to our final 3 holes of the front half, 9, 10, and 11. Very straightforward. Perfection. And Philo will pick the birdie up. Looks like maybe it was a flow of play conversation. Seems like Shasta might have been out by just a step or two, but he's going to miss the birdie, and I think he's going to be the only one to do so of the card here. Disc golf lawyer who's been a huge supporter of Thailand disc golf for quite some time. Supporter of this basket or this particular hole. We've got basket wraps on all 11 holes. And big thanks to all of those course supporters and sponsors. In fact, I believe somebody just moved into Chiang Mai area into Thailand permanently. So he'll be practicing some law from abroad, and pretty awesome. So make sure you check out discgolflawyer.com. And someone who hasn't been there yet, Dan and Robin and Boyd from First Light. Those guys from Arizona are going to make their trip over here soon, I'm sure. I don't know how they can stay away from this place. So much fun. We head to hole 10. Pure Disc Golf, our friends from Estonia, supporting and attended the last few years as well. Some great disc golf bags. Chet it's the second time in a row we've seen that just letting it go almost too early and then it finishing off to the right side. Feels a little undercommitted, I think is the phrase that I would use there. And Philo can throw the exact same shot that he threw on the previous hole. Puts it out left. The little Anheuser bends it over to the right. Puts himself on the dance floor. Shasta have another long one. We saw one back on 7. He'll remain 4 under through 10. Pichet, not quite dialed in yet either. If you think back to round 1, it was at this point I'm looking at the scores. We saw a little bit of a slow start from a number of our players, and then it felt like most of them got things going during that second lap around the track. And consider it warm-up, consider it comfort, whatever you want to chalk it up to. Maybe a little nervousness, I don't know. But it feels like players have gotten a little bit more dialed as they get through that second lap around, and we'll see if that's going to be the case. Philo sitting at 6 under through 10. Like I said, Shasta's a little back of that. We'll see what these guys can do as we head to hole 11. Just 246 feet. That red flag is such a good landmark. You're trying to get there and then have a little skip or flare from that red foot golf spot. Didn't see the flare come into frame, so it might have got caught up by one of the late trees. That gap might look big. It just feels so much smaller when you're actually standing on the tee. And you know if you don't get through those first couple of trees, it's a really difficult scramble because you probably kicked into something that's going to be nasty. I got 3 for 3 so far. Can this get through? And we see a couple of low skips. Not a lot of overstability there. I think that's just a mid-range for him. Almost the unintentional bank shot off the tree. And Shasta will pick up the birdie and get himself to 5 under through 11. And Philo's been really finding his groove. He had a little bit of a slow start, but now gets 7 of the 11. He's built himself a little cushion here, too. At least against everyone here on the lead card. One of my favorite parts about this event is just the lack of discs that people really need. And so you see some modified disc golf bags, which I absolutely love. Big thanks to our friends at PDGA Asia, working on a 2026 Southeast Asia tour. There's been it in somewhat of a low key and somewhat unofficial capacity in years past, and I think in the 2026 version, looking for a full-blown tour. Easy. Oh, there's a Sven sighting as well. Sven out of Norway, one of the greatest and most gregarious humans that you will find. Certainly a highlight of being here in Samui and traveling abroad. Same time you can run into Sven. 3 out of 4 right there. Petri still with a birdie look, though. Count it. And star frame coming up here on 12. Believe it or not, hole 1 and 12 do in fact play as the easiest holes on the course. I know you're shocked by that. And we head over now to 13. If you missed the Mando, and we haven't really seen that come into play, I hope there's no foreshadowing here, but if you missed the Mando, you do go to a drop zone. And at best, you're looking to scramble and get up and down and save bogey from there. This hole perfectly depicts why everybody should have a serviceable forehand. And I say that as I do not have one, even after 30-some years of playing. But it's a hole like this that makes me think the best possible way to truly get to the pin without getting a little bit lucky or with having a 25 or 30 footer is to throw a forehand shot. Everything else is going to require some form of luck. And this being just 269 feet, I don't think you need a 4 or 5 or 600 foot forehand or anything crazy like that. But to have a basic forehand that you can just throw flat and then have it finish to the right if you're right-handed, this is that perfect scenario. It's just a shape and a hole that really just calls for that particular shot. Plenty of times you can find ways to manufacture a backhand anhyzer. However, it's just so much easier with a forehand here. A few scattered obstacles around the basket. Clearly, this course isn't heavily wooded by any means. However, there's just enough obstacles to keep you from parking a hole or having to at least think about something while you're putting. I do like the overall clean lines that we find out here. As Shasta will also pick up the birdie, as did Philo. He sits 5 back of him. Petri doing work over there. Find less gravity on Spotify. You can also just click on the link below. Big supporter and sponsor here of the coverage, along with a bunch of the other transitional screens. You might hear me say it 10 times throughout these 3 rounds, but it's truly because of supporters and sponsors that make this coverage possible. I'll include the PDGA and the Marco Polo grant for helping support international disc golf coverage and the overall international disc golf scene, especially in growing countries that of Thailand or Cambodia or the Philippines, Malaysia, places all over, all trying to grow here in Southeast Asia. Beautiful shot as I'm standing behind the basket this time on the island green of hole 14. And Shasta was caught up short. And he's going to the drop zone. Dangerous putt. Oh no, Pichet had gone out of bounds from the drop zone during the previous lap, and now this time hits basket and goes out of bounds. But it looks like it could be just a bogey considering he was in the first place. But Philo keeps things rolling. The scorecard in front of me. What is that? 5 or 6 or so in a row for Philo. The lone par 4. OB is tighter on that right side than years past. So you really want to find the opening, maybe get out to here, anywhere around there as I zoom past Katka Badova. Still workable. That's what I would say. You're trying to get through that, but probably a still workable spot. And next week, we'll see a number of the players that even on this card, I think 2, if not 3 out of 4, heading to Chiang Mai. Shasta has a title to defend there. Chiang Mai in 2025 will be offering up a different look of golf, considering bringing a new course into play, Sand Creek Ball Golf Course. Going to be using that along with the Lana Rocks Garden. Yeah, Philo's got backhand and forehand options here. And just the right touch. Should be an easy tap-in birdie. He's rolling on 6 birdies in a row at the moment. He's gotten everything since back on hole number 9. That's a little straddle. We've seen him really with that staggered stance in terms of lifting that back leg. So straddle, not necessarily his forte, but clearly not a problem from that range. I think I'm in more shock and disbelief than even Shasta at this point. As a guy who rarely lets his putter touch the ground, especially here in Thailand over the last couple of years, he has had a number of misses that I would just never expect from him. Something seems to be a little off. Philo now 11 under through 15 for today's round. Shasta losing ground, along with really the rest of the card. I've got both Patreon options for those that are familiar, and I appreciate that. Also, this year I have started YouTube memberships, which means that as soon as a video comes out, one of the big advantages to it is as soon as I put a video up and make it available, it is hidden to you until I hit the release button for the general public. And what that means is it could be 2 in the morning when I get a video all ready to go. I can actually release it to all the members. So maybe if you're international or you're just a night owl, you could be watching it at 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning, and it actually isn't set to release till 9 or 10, or maybe even the next day in some rare instances. So you basically get early access anytime you're a YouTube member. I'm going to continue to kind of build that out and find some other ways to thank and appreciate everyone that's a member, but that's an option as well now on YouTube. And Shasta has been a member of Out of Bounds on this hole all 4 times. It is not a club you want to be in, but we've seen Shasta go OB left 4 consecutive times on this hole. Long range, almost bringing it up. I'm almost getting irritated watching so many close putts not drop. I can only imagine what these guys are feeling. And a terrible reaction off the top of the pin, so that keeps going. Meanwhile, Philo is just racking them up. That's 8 in a row for Philo. Feels like he's trying to close things out here with just a little more in a round and change to go. Nice, easy little shot. This little bush doesn't come into play. It's more of the trees, the actual trunks to the trees. There's not so much in terms of leaves and things that come into play. It's just all about steering clear of all the actual tree trunks. You see the Mando? I'm going to move over to a different angle to give you guys a better look here. Philo says he's long again, which if muddy shoes equal back-to-back birdies on this hole for you, I guess you'll probably take it. So maybe there's a question for you guys: does this course have the right amount of balance? And when I mean balance, I mean right, left, and straight. I feel like a couple of the holes that are coming up are very straight. We've had a few, including the previous one, which is really dead straight, although you have to throw some different angles to get there. As Shasta's out of bounds, he's going to the drop zone and really struggling here. And that looks like it's going to be another bogey. But do we have enough right and left bending shots for you? Forehands, backhands, whatever you're doing to get there. Maybe you're pulling a La Castro who's been here before, and maybe you start throwing a little bit left-handed or opposite-handed. I don't know about that, but does it have the variety that you're looking for in a course, albeit short? Like, share, subscribe, do all those YouTube things, but leave me some comments and let me know what you're thinking here. And when are you coming? When are you coming to Thailand, to Samui, to play disc golf? That's what I want to know. I say that because I feel like so often players show up and they say, I've been watching these videos for the last few years and we finally got here. It was on the bucket list. We're here to take it in. Oh, come on, Pichet. So I'm personally inviting you. Come to Samui. Stay for Chiang Mai. Stay for Cambodia. Go to Malaysia. Go to Singapore. Head over to Jacksonville, Florida. and stop in, visit Jeff at the Pro Shop. But seriously, come on over to Southeast Asia. Same line that we've seen from Philo the last few rounds. And this time he keeps it clean. Okay. Petri will match. This one sets up great for a lefty. Trying to throw pretty much dead straight. Just let gravity do the work. That's exactly what we see from Pichet. Well, apparently I just need to go down near the pin on this particular hole if we want to see 4 great drives. Shasta trying to battle back. 2 back-to-back birdies. Or excuse me, coming off 2 back-to-back bogeys. And the hole before that, he missed a short putt. So let's see if he can get something going and close out strong. Just a few holes left to play. Seeing the likes of Ronnie and Maverick both putting together some solid rounds up ahead. So we're going to see how this lead card is going to ultimately finish out. We'll see the lead card here on 2, and then who's going to be in our final round featured lead card as well. Yappy making a good run at a solid round as I'm looking at the scores. Also see Morgan and Yorn having double-digit looking rounds. So these guys have some pressure to keep things going. Unicorn Disc Golf, our boy Martin from Germany. He's a fixture here as well. Just a standstill at the corner. We saw the high line taken by Pichet last time. And I'll give him a circle's edge putt. Players invited to come back in a few hours after this round is over. Glow doubles taking place, and just a gorgeous place to play glow doubles. So if you haven't played glow golf, or even if you have and you just want a really unique experience, we're going to have glow doubles on Saturday night here. Pichet's again off the basket. Okay, left side. I didn't think that was going to stick, but it does. He's got Pichet to thank for that basket. Philo with another one. Philo now has birdied 11 in a row. He has gotten all of them since last time through. Okay. That's one way to do it. I told you, you can get them all, and that's exactly what he's doing here. Can he keep it rolling? And the answer looks to be yes. the last time you birdied an entire course? That's a pretty fair question. I don't know if you've ever done it. I mean, there's 9 holes, and I'm not saying you're not skilled enough to get all 18 if they're out there, but I feel like most 9-hole courses are generally on the shorter side and maybe a little bit more birdie friendly. But let me know if you've ever birdied all 9 or 18. Or in Samui's case, 11. Have you gotten all 11 in a row out here? Not quite the putting clinic we've seen on a few of the other holes out here. Now 12 in a row for Philo. Heading back. I'm going to say this is the second easiest hole on the course to birdie, in my opinion. We know that hole 1 is right there, straightforward and ready for you. I have to think that this, and I haven't looked this up, but I'm going to have to assume that this is, and it looks like the first time through when people played it, it did come in as essentially the second easiest hole on the course. We're using 1 in 12 as essentially the exact same hole. And then hole number 10 here plays as the second easiest. As we see our FPO competitors off in the distance, give you an update as to what we saw there. We saw Petri Hautala open with a solid round number 1. And I'll give you some updates as to what we're seeing through 2 rounds. She had a 7 under in the first round and then followed it back up with a 6 under. She's at 13 under through 2 rounds. Lily has moved into second, who sits at 3 under. Ruth Ann sits at 1 over. And Eve Yanis sits at 3 over as a total. So that's what we're looking at for our top 4 competitors in the FPO division. There's not FPO coverage this year. As you can see, I was out on the course at the exact same time while I was filming these guys. And Philo ends the birdie streak with a par. Still sitting on a very comfortable lead. $16 under through 21 holes. We'll see how it can close out. Philo winning this event in 2017, 2019, 2020, and 2023. And we head to our final hole. That means just 23 holes left in the tournament. This plus everything on Sunday. Just sub 250 feet. Nice sunny spot there. Big thanks to our friends over at Team Finland for all the support. Such great international representation, including a ton of our Finnish players, Norwegians, Swedish, German. We've got such a mixture here. Oh, Philo gets tree-nied, I think they say. He'll still have a long look. He's flagged. No. I always talk about that as the reference point. And he was going right at it, and it skips up and hits the flag. And Pichet's not able to get through clean either. I've got tons of links. I know you hear me reference all these supporters and advertisers and people that just want to be here and be part of it. I've got a ton of links in the description. So if you're wondering what I was talking about, whether that's Pulse A or less gravity or par on disc golf or whomever, any and all, I've got them linked below in the description. So please go out and show some love and support to them because they're the reason this is happening. Oh, Philo closing out with a bang. You could combine like 6 other holes where the putting, and it was the same as that length. As we pan over to the little party section, everybody hanging out underneath our first light awning. And Philo's going to finish with a 17 under par. He missed just 5 of them. And very impressive effort. So he'll have a comfortable lead. We'll see if anyone can chase him down. He's got 8 strokes on Petri. And we have Maverick and Ronnie joining us. Lead card for Championship Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow in Koh Samui.